Hey guys, Dead Ponic here, and it is the final episode of, season 1, at least. I'm kind of hoping, I know they're gonna make another, season, but for the time being, we'll just call it the season finale, and hoping for season 2. Anyway, this is where everything comes full circle. One thing I gotta say right now, as my friend King Orange said, the villain won. He got his plan came to fruition, and yeah, that's it. There's not much to say on that end, though I will be talking about the episode overall. I still say it is a very strong ending to the season one, ending to this series as far as we know, as far as that goes. Things I want to point out here. There's a couple references that may go over some people's heads if you haven't watched all of the episodes of TCW and a little bit of Rebels. So we'll start with Morgan Elsbeth. So she actually gets like the tattoos, and her eyes go black thanks to a Night Sister ritual, and she gets I guess you could call it a katana, and it's known as the Blade of Talzin. So they're definitely making a reference to Mother Talzin here, which is interesting. Another great bit with Sabine and Ezra. Ezra is actually putting together a lightsaber, and the hilt, or sorry, not the hilt, the emitter, which is the end to which the lightsaber blade comes out of, generally, is actually it looks like Kanan's. It looks like he's building a replica of Kanan's lightsaber, and as Hugh Yang says, he said he kept two, one for Kanan that he used, and another one in case Kanan needed to make another lightsaber, which is interesting. Ahsoka and Sabine, they talk, and Ahsoka is not mad at her, and she actually understands why Sabine made the choice she did. And I'm really glad that she's like not pissed off. And she even explains herself that basically she had to make some tough choices, and nobody understood why she made those choices. But the only person who did was her master. And we'll come back to him in a minute because I have a lot to say there. But so all three decide they're gonna, they're gonna try to stop Thrawn from escaping. So they go through his fortress. They take out a bunch of stormtroopers, but then the Great Mothers, they enact this weird ritual where basically the stormtroopers they're fighting, basically no matter how many times they cut them up or shoot them down, they will still get back up. It reminds me of that episode in TCW in season 2, Legacy of Terror, I believe it was called. It was Legacy of Terror. Yeah, it's very very reminiscent of that. And basically, they get to their objective. Morgan and Ahsoka fight, which I'm quite surprised that she puts up a hell of a fight, despite the fact that, in The Mandalorian, she was clearly outmatched in some regard, even though she did disarm Ahsoka of one of her lightsabers, which, to note here, during their fight on the top part of the fortress, one of Ahsoka's lightsabers actually gets cut in half by this katana, and Ahsoka takes her out both with her remaining blade and the katana itself, which I was pretty impressed with. The action is pretty well put together, and then comes this is going to be a controversial moment, but I don't care. I like it. At which point, these two night troopers, as they're called, I'm guessing they're night troopers, or they're just like elite bodyguard, but basically they attack Ezra and Sabine, and Sabine's in a pinned position, and she actually manages to use the Force to call the lightsaber back to her. And I had a Avengers Endgame Thor moment where I said, I knew it, and I am not disappointed by that. Also, there's a bit where Ezra has to get on the Star Destroyer, and, well, Sabine gives him a push. And I'm really happy for that. Like, I'm glad that Ezra got to go home. Even if it means that, Sabine and Ahsoka are stuck on the planet, it means that they completed their objective, which I'm fine with. And the villain, Thrawn, got to go home. Now, the only thing I will say is that he kind of gives a proverbial middle finger to Ahsoka, but I'm willing to dismiss this because he's been in. It was as a Jedi who basically caused him to be exiled in the first place. So he can afford to be a little bit petty. I'm okay with that. So Ezra lands on one of the Mount Calamari cruisers, disguised as a stormtrooper, and he takes off the helmet and he says, "Hi, Hera, I'm home," which is kind of a "Hi, Mom, I'm home. Sorry for being gone to college for so long. What's new?" And the emotional moment is well done. I gotta say that on that end. And then some of the final scenes. Now, what I have to say about Balin, because Ray Stevenson has sadly passed away, my friend King Orange has a theory that if they do what he thinks either did, where they film season 2 before season 1 even came out, then Ray Stevenson is still going to be playing Balin, but they're going to have to either kill him off in some way. Now, or the other option would be to recast him, which I don't think it would do. Not only the actor, it would be an insult to the actor, but it wouldn't be the same. Now, Balin actually, the ending with him is where he's standing on top of a statue, which looks strangely like one of the Mortis gods, specifically the Father, which I have a weird feeling that, as, again, King Orange just kind of postulated this theory, and I kind of support this, is that Balin is likely looking for the Mortis gods. Shin is, well, she ends where she comes across a raider village, holds her lightsaber up in the air, and that's it. That's it with her. And then the final shot where Sabine gets a weird feeling, and Ahsoka's looking up into the stars. And as they're walking away, another instance where I'm all giddy, and it's Anakin again, except there's no lines with him. And I gotta say, the de-aging looks pretty good on him. It is just a tiny bit off, but I'm okay with that. I'm glad that they put that in there, and that he's happy that Ahsoka's kind of moved forward. Now, I have a weird feeling that they're going to spend most of season 2 trying to get Ahsoka and Sabine home, which I'm okay with. Overall, the episode is really well done. I mean, definitely the highlight for this episode is definitely Lars Mikkelsen as Thrawn. He has he captured the character perfectly, and if it wasn't for that, if they had gotten his character wrong, the show would have just plummeted. But they got him right, and they did something that was wonderful. And I'm really happy I saw this series. I was really excited. Now, if some people were to ask me what I think my least favorite episode is, I have to say it's either the second part, possibly, but that's kind of a nitpick. That's kind of just me personally. Also, I also think episode 3 was pretty good. Episode 4 was really good. Episode 5 was really good. 6, and basically everything from episode 3 going forward is really good. Like part 3 to part 8, really good. Part 1 and part 2 had a rough start, but they managed to pick it up, which I'm really happy with. Yeah, so that's it for Ahsoka right now anyway. But when the show eventually comes with their season 2, hopefully, I'm hoping that they can give just as good quality episodes as this one and others like it. overall, I gotta say, I'm gonna give this episode a 9 out of 10. It does have its issues, but I'm fine with it. I can overlook it because I still enjoyed the series, and the series overall, I have to say, I'm gonna give it a 8.5. It does struggle at the beginning, but at the end, it was well worth it. So yeah, thank you guys for listening, and thank you guys for joining me on this journey. And stay tuned for my next project. It's gonna be a doozy.